Lancey Foux just released his newest album called Life in Hell, and I have, been looking forward to this album. I did like a couple of these singles, and I think Lancey Foux is probably one of the better artists that I do know, and, I was really looking forward to this one. Here's just a kind of a quick review of the album. I think Lancey's sound on this album is really good with the melodic and more energetic sounds of the album sounding polished and finished, but I feel like he separated the two of them a little bit too much, where it seemed like he was either melodic or he was rapping on a song, and it wasn't really like ever combined into like a chorus for the melodic part and then some verses for the rapping part. It kind of was just always spaced out, and with a lot of these melodic songs, they did just sound like interludes with not that many actual lyrics being part of the song, and it was just kind of like unfinished songs. Not unfinished, but they sounded very like interlude-y, I guess. Then I wish that this album was just a little bit shorter. It is an hour and 5 minutes, which I feel like is a lot over the time that I would want to listen to an album. I feel like a 45-minute to a 50-minute album is perfect to me. And when there are 22 songs, some of them will feel a little bit worse than the others. And then it's like there's always going to be some filler on that album, basically no matter what with the 22-song album. I do really like some of these songs, and I think this album had a ton of promise just with a cut down track list and more collaboration between the two styles with the melodic and the rapping parts that Lancey employs on the album. Alright, here we go with a little just breakdown of all the songs. Starting off with Spirit of Ecstasy. I like the production and the choir in the background. Lancey's vocals also do sound pretty good. The soft and simple production works to Lancey's strengths too, because I feel like his voice is unique and it works well with his voice. I feel like the song just lasts a little bit too long. Let me go to Did It Again. This is probably my least favorite track on the entire album. I don't really like this one. They have a little like super high pitched voice in the background. I hate it. And then I feel like the Jostar verse didn't work either. I know a lot of people don't like Jostar like that are Lancey fans, so I didn't really like him on this. This was my first time I'd ever heard a Jostar song or Jostar verse even, so I didn't really like it, and definitely was the worst track on this album in my opinion. Then we go to World on Fire. I like the production, sounds pretty good, and Lancey comes in with a pretty solid verse and some good energy, and which the beat easily like helps him and complements him. I think the chorus is catchy on this one as well. I thought this one was a good song. Then we go to 12th Hour. The production sounds really futuristic, and Lancey sounds amazing on top of it, but it is just a little bit too short of a song. I would have liked it to be a little bit more stretched out and more like in-depth of a song. Then we go to Sun Moon. Lancey comes in with a lot of energy and sounds, and the production is hard-hitting and complements Lancey's voice. The beat switch works, in my opinion, and sets it up to a more calm production and melodic sound that he uses on a lot of the rest of the album. And I feel like that is something I would have wanted more, the melodic and the rapping parts put together. But even in this song, it's a beat switch, and it's not like an actual melodic chorus with a rapping verse. Then we go to Colors. This one is actually perfectly led into from the last song. Like the beat just perfectly leads into it, kind of like a Pierre beat. And I feel like this one sounds really good. I like the Lancey's melodies, and he sounds good on this album. I really like the vocals. Girl a Gun. I like the production, and Lancey's delivery sounds really good. The song is just a really short song, and we don't really get much from it. It kind of just sounds, like there could be a little bit more on that. Then we go to I Feel Like I'm Me. Lancey sounds really good on a solid beat, and his delivery and vocals work well on the beat. Lancey's flow also sounds good, and kind of everything I feel like works well together. Then we go to All Night Long. This was one of the singles on the album, and I already listened to this one, but I think Lancey's vocals work really well on this because his vocals make the chorus sound new and unique when it's repeated multiple times throughout the song. And I feel like it's just a pretty solid song in general. Then we go to Pendulum. I feel like the production and sample are really interesting and play into the kind of futuristic sound that is kind of on this entire album with the production. And I think Lancey's vocals sound really good over the beat. Then we go to Lies Killing Me Slowly. I think that's what it's called, LKMS. I like the production, and Lancey's voice gives me a slowing and slurring vibe, which kind of sounds and speaks that more like stoner kind of music, which I do like. The song does drag on a bit with the instrumental at the end, but I still think it sounds good. Then we go Lies Will Set You Free. I really like the Kaytranada production on this one. I think Kaytranada is definitely the best producer on this entire album, and I think it seems like Kaytranada built the production around Lancey's voice and vocals. The beat switches, and it sounds like a completely different song at the end, but I think the outro still sounds good. It's a pretty long song as well, and I feel like it kind of, works for the whole 4.5 minutes or however long it is, and it really sounds like a shorter song, which is good in my opinion. Ride Till You Die, this song has good production and Lancey's vocals sound pretty solid, but I feel like there's just not much going on with the song. Then we go to Try Again. This song lets Lancey use a lot more of his melodic song, but the song drags on way too long with just one line being sung for the entire song. Lancey or Lancey, this song sounds pretty good, and it's a pretty unique kind of like Lancey style, especially with, I feel like it's pretty similar to India, but I still feel like it's pretty good with the verses sounding good. I don't really like the chorus as much, but overall it's a pretty still a solid song, and then it kind of switches with a more melodic sound, which I still like as well. Then we go to Almost Ready. The production and Lancey's vocals sound really good, but the song is just a little bit repetitive. It doesn't really justify its runtime. Then we go to She the One. I like the production a lot, and the song is really catchy, and Lancey's vocals sound good over the song. Just works well. Then we go to Now Then. The production and 070 Shake's vocals remind me of her album, but I wish she was actually included on a verse or like a chorus in this album instead of just being put as like a little interlude, which I feel like this song definitely is. And then we go to Too Hard to Kill. I feel like Lancey's vocals and delivery really works on this song. His vocals sound good and pretty melodic. Then we go to Casino Royale. Thank You. The song's pretty good with the futuristic sounding production, but then switches to a more introspective guitar sounding second part, which I feel like is pretty good. It just lasts a while, especially when Thank You is repeated over and over in the thank you part, but it is like a kind of thank you to his fans, I would assume at least. Then High Grade. I really like this one. Kaytranada production, definitely amazing on this album, and Lancey sounds beautiful on this Kaytranada production, and just everything in this song goes well. So I think this is probably one of the best songs on the entire album, and I definitely like this one. Then we go to Wake Up, I'm Alive. I really like the Wake Up portion of the song, and I feel like it's similar sound to KC with the choirs and stacked voices on the beat, but then it quickly switches to I'm Alive, where Lancey comes in with energy and a quicker flow and delivery, and just overall that song is pretty good. And a nice ender. I feel like the Kaytranada songs are definitely the best produced songs, and my favorite on the entire album, but the whole album is pretty good in general. I think this album is pretty solid, and I feel like Lancey could have, cut it up a little bit to make it, in my opinion, a better album, especially taking some of the melodic stuff and some of the rapping stuff. And I really am just hoping for a Kaytranada and Lancey collaboration album, because the Kaytranada production is so fire on this album, and Lancey sounds amazing on it. And either way, I'm still looking forward to a lot of the other Lancey tracks and singles and whatever else he's coming out with, because he does sound really good, and there are super big signs of promise in my opinion. So I'm really looking forward to whatever Lancey puts out next, and I definitely will review it and listen to that, and probably just help out his career. But either way, this is a pretty solid album, but it's nothing special, so I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. It's a good album, but there's nothing really amazing in my opinion with it.